when I went over to the country of Haiti. Stood there and watched two little girls running their hands through the sewer trying to find something to eat. Depressed me so bad I went back to the room and wouldn't even come out for a couple days. Just couldn't stand the thought. 13 million people that are dying because they don't have enough to eat. I'm talking about the condition today that we live in. What's happening in our old world. Paul wrote to Timothy, and he told him certain things that were going to happen, describing the last days. I want you to listen to them. But know this, that in the last days, perilous times will come. Now, he's talking about time which you and I are living. Perilous times shall come here. 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter. For men will be lovers of themselves. Very true today. But listen to the next one. Lovers of money. Does that strike any chord with you? I mean, I stand there in amazement that Wall Street and what is taking place there totally from the love of money. And even after Congress was hard enough on them to tell them, leave, you don't need anything, and had them come back, in which they were supposed to have done some housekeeping, and straightened things up, and got rid of some things that they had, and their bonuses and all that, and sat there and listen to them, and go down the line after the housekeeping's been done. And they say, oh, well, my salary's not but $1 million. Time in which we're living, the love of money? I don't think there's ever been a time in which it's more true than today. Try to convince you, try to convince me that the problem we're having with oil is shortage. Try to convince me of that. Wish somebody would. Because, when you're talking about it, and here the price of oil per barrel drops in January, and the price at the pump goes up, and they tell me that's shortage, just doesn't fit. It does fit one thing, the love of money. That it fits. Boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, describes the condition. Do you understand, folks, the moral condition of today? That listen to me, 1 out of every 100 Americans is in prison? Think that. 1 out of every 100 are in prison. Without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. Write down the list, and you could spend a whole morning just on one of those things. That's what's happening. Traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than the lovers of God. Certainly, time that we're living today, lovers of pleasure more than the lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power, and from such people turn away. That is the condition we're in. What has it done to us? Well, at the present time, or I shouldn't say at the present time, the latest statistics I could get was 2007. 2007, 36.1 million people in this world have AIDS. 36.1 million people. And I appreciate very much all that's being done to try to meet that problem. Trying to find out a cure of some kind. And then to have them come on the television and say that the cure they were trying to do wasn't helping anybody, it was probably hurting them. And so we face that kind of a situation. What is that doing to the world? When you have 36.1 million people affected with AIDS, what does that do to us? I'm going to explain this graph to you. The light blue or green is women. Get it right, are males. And the dark blue are women. These represents deaths. Dying. People that are dying, listen to me, people that are dying between the ages of 15 and 49. 15 and 49. Do you understand what that means? Those are the people that work. Those are the people that are those that bring bread to the house. Okay. Look at them. 1900 up to 2000. Folks, a little better than 80% of those that are dying of men are between the ages of 15 and 49 years of age. So that means that the working force is dying off. The working force is dying off. See if I can go back to this. I want you to look at something. Look here at the southern hemisphere. Latin America, you have 1.4 million people with AIDS. You come here to Africa, you have 25.3 million. And you go into basically into South and Southeast Asia, you have 5.8 million. Now, what I'm trying to tell you, folks, is those countries are in problems because their working people are dying off. They're dying, and there's not anybody left to sustain life for them. Facing tremendous problem here. Look at it just a little bit here. People newly affected with HIV in 2007, 5 million people. Now, like I said, I appreciate them doing everything they can to help these people physically with medicine or whatever they can provide. What bothers me is you don't hear anything being said about changing lifestyle. They want to bring the epidemic to a stop, then change your lifestyle. But nevertheless, it continues on. The number of people living with AIDS, as I told you, are 36 million. Deaths. Those that died in 2007 were 3.1 million. And we've had 21 million people, 21.8 million people that have died from AIDS. It talks about pestilence. That's what it's talking about. And there will be earthquakes in various places, and famine and pestilence, and there will be a fearful sight and great signs from heaven. All that is going to happen. Now listen to me carefully. Because Revelation, the 18th chapter, and the other evening I told you, that's where we're living today, is in the 17th and 18th chapter. It says, "And the merchants of these things who became rich by her will stand at a distance for fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, the great city that was clothed in fine linen, purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls."